Here's Jordan Joe Hollabaugh.
3.1. She's in the money.
She was about as fast as she could have been on that
one. 2.9 seconds. And now she is number one.
You are officially in the loop. Okay, welcome back to In the Loop podcast. I am here today with the one and only Tilden Hooper. Welcome.
Thank you.
To In the Loop.
I been looking forward to this. I guess we started talking about it a few months ago and finally got it worked out. So glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, and we're glad to be here. Exciting day today. Today you found out that you have made your 10th consecutive national finals rodeo.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Finally officially got my call back yesterday and kind of known for a few weeks, but haven't seen it officially anywhere. So finally started making some plans to go out there and getting ready. So I'm excited.
Well, I'm glad that we don't get to be broadcasting partners this time because
Yeah.
I was like, that's where this podcast was going is like, did Tilden and I talk about the NFR or do we talk about our broadcasting?
We're talking about the NFR one way or the other. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I really enjoy doing that stuff too. And but obviously I want to go out there and ride. So I'm thankful I have the opportunity to do that again.
Yeah. 18 years you've been at this. When I wrote that down, I was like, man, it's almost like, you know, how you hear people talk about Tom Brady and they're like, man, he's 40. When is he going to quit? Like there's some unknown thing that you, as a bareback rider, you only have a certain longevity of your career. Talk about, 18 years. That's just a phenomenal accomplishment.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank God, I guess, I've thought this deal was going to be over several times. And, every time it gets like that and injuries come up or life changes or whatever happens, I always try to pray a lot about it. I don't ever want to be the guy that's out here doing it too long. And I don't, always go back to my family. Like, is this what we want to do? Is this what everybody wants to do? And, this last 2 years, it's been a resounding yes. Let's do it. Let's go have some fun. The kids love going to the rodeos when we get a chance. My wife, she's a rock star. She takes care of things at home, allows me to do this. There's a team of people, that just square things away at home and allow me to do this, So I'm just thankful to have people in my corner that allow me to still do this, to be honest with you. I get to do the fun part. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that probably isn't that fun.
Talk about that work that goes in behind the scenes, because I think that's what a lot of people, they see you show up, you compete, you've had a great year this year, but they don't see all what goes into that.
Yeah, whenever, I was a guy like that came around, like the whole evolution of bareback riding and rodeo probably as a sport, I guess. I can only speak to the bareback riding, but I've had a front row seat to seeing the change and what it looks like to be a professional bareback rider in 2008 compared to now. And I've rodeoed against a lot of great guys. I've got to sit in that locker room with a couple different generations of guys, and guys have always worked at this. It's not that I don't ever want to go on record saying that like the guy, when I first came around, the guys didn't take this serious or guys didn't work at it, because they're definitely, guys did, and no one gets really good at something without putting in the work, but it looked different. Like the whole thing was a lot different. I don't know, like it was just I don't know if it's the increase in the money or just what, but like guys treat themselves more like athletes now. And it's I've seen it happen in my career, and it's not that guys before weren't in good shape or strong and fast and good at riding and all that, but like these guys that I compete against now, like they do something we never did back then. Like they go to bed at 10 o'clock and go watch a movie or something, and they get rest and they recover and they ice things. Yeah, no, I there's a reason I do it the way I do now. It's a little better option, but I don't know. And it was me too at that time. Rodeo looked different because I was different, right? Like, I was out there having a good time, or what I thought was a really good time at that time. And, I didn't work out. I was just out here riding bucking horses and having a big time. And, that caught up with me whenever I was about 23, I think. And, so I ended up having to have surgery on my neck. That was the first time I remember a surgeon looking me in the eye and telling me, you should probably find something else to do. Like, this isn't going to work out for you. And anyway, luckily I found another surgeon that said we could probably work this out, and met a guy around that time named Sean Scott, chiropractor, and he just kind of took me on as a project and taught me how to work out, taught me how to take care of myself, coached me through all of those things that have led to what we're doing now. Like
Right.
if I wouldn't have made changes then, I wouldn't still be here, but somewhere along the way, like all the training, the daily going to the gym, taking care of myself, I kind of fell in love with that process, like I enjoy that every day. Like I wake up and I mean, I'm not, you can look at me and tell I'm probably not doing the same thing in the gym as like Leighton Berry or something, but what I do works for me to, keep my body in shape and recovered enough to continue to ride bucking horses and to do it at a high level. And so I enjoy it. Like I like going to the gym in the morning. My wife, she's big into fitness and stuff. And so that's kind of our time every day where we get to spend a little time together, and the kids will be in the gym at the house. And I mean, it's just it's a fun process to me, and I enjoy, you have to treat it more like a job. I think probably the older you get, even for sure, like your body just responds different to different things, and life's different. You have kids, you have a family, whatever. Like it becomes more like a job, but it's the best job I've ever had. And I'm thankful to get to still be doing it.
Well, and the longevity too, like fitness has become something that I'm passionate about myself, and nutrition, and it makes a world of difference amazingly what you put into your body. Although chicken fry
It's crazy.
is a good quality food.
Yeah.
But it really does. And I went on that journey the last couple of years, and I've really seen the difference. But now to me, it's not just for in the arena, but it's after the arena. Like I want to be
100%.
able to function and have a fully healthy body to the best of my abilities that I can have.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank God that just rodeo made me learn about fitness, basically, because I'm probably a pretty hard-headed guy, and I don't know that I'd ever went that route. But when faced with the option of not riding bucking horses or getting in
Going to the
it was
gym.
pretty simple for me. And along the way, the lifestyle changes that we've made they're going to be permanent. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like now I'm looking at it like I'm 37 years old, and I've got a 4.5-year-old little boy and 2.5-year-old twins, and it's like I better start training just to keep up with
You're
them,
gonna need some
you know what
go-go
I mean?
juice
So,
for sure.
yeah. So I mean, but like I said, just like I don't know, I feel like God used rodeo to teach me most of the lessons in my life, and that was definitely one of them, and I'm thankful that we've made those lifestyle changes.
Yeah. 2008 Rookie of the Year, or is it 2007?
2007.
2007.
Yeah.
Man, we're even older than we thought.
Yeah.
Okay,
no
cool.
doubt.
2007 Rookie of the Year. Talk about the horsepower from 2007 to now. That is one thing that I've become a huge fan of is, and I don't, just like you said, I don't want to ever discount the horses that anybody has got on throughout the years, because at that point in that time, it was an elite level
Yep.
of horses. They too have evolved just as athletes. Talk about the horsepower and some of your favorite horses that you've got on.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of this also. It's changed a lot. Like there's you can't deny it. Like there's a lot more good to ride horses that you can make great rides on and show off on now than there was in 2008 and that 2007, whatever. Not to say that there wasn't great horses then. I mean, there definitely was. I mean, Graded Coconut, Moulin Rouge, the Delta Ship would have came around back then. Full Baggage will be at the NFR this year. That horse would have came around back then. I mean, there were a lot of great horses. There really were, but there's more good to ride, like just go show off on type horses than there were back then. Like, and not to like, I don't like to get called into the, heck, back when they bucked, you guys are a bunch of sissies now. Like, none of that. Like, I mean, but the truth of the matter is there were harder, you had to get on more harder type horses back then because there were just, that's the kind of horses that were there. There wasn't as many of them that got up off the ground and got in the air and were that good to ride. If you drew one really nice horse on the weekend, that was pretty good. And then the other two, you're going to go bang out a 78 or an 80 and get hit in the back of the head a few times and win a check. And now the horsepower has risen to the point that those top horses where you go bang around for 81 points, you don't even win a check on. So it's like you end up not going to get on them. And it's just the quality of horses has risen to the point that, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go get beat on sometimes to win $500 when you're going to get beat by a guy that's going to be on a really nice horse and have a really fun time, and he's going to win $1,500,
Right.
And so just I would say the horses have gotten overall more user friendly, and I mean, just because they're better, honestly, just because they jump up in the air and they give you a chance. But that's not to say there's not some really rank horses right now. Like, I mean, and there is just like, there's a lot of them. Like, you go on the weekend and you're getting on 3 or 4 horses that you might not have drawn in a month or two whenever I first started. And, like talking to Casey's dad and some of the older guys from back then, like, that's one thing Louis always said. He was like, it's not that there wasn't great, really good bucking horses back then, but it was like there was, 5 of them or 10 of them. He was like, you guys get on 3 horses a weekend that we might not have got on 3 like that for a year. And I would say it's like it's become more like that now. It's just continued to evolve, and these guys out here breeding these horses, and like they see the kind of horses we like to get on, and that's the kind of horses they're breeding, and it's a fun time to be a bareback rider. If the livestock part of it wouldn't have changed much, I don't think I would have been still.
You might not be 18 years.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's, as I've learned and gotten to be friends with more people within the industry, that's something that I'm like fascinated by. You and I had a conversation in Nashville. You had rode at Nashville, prior to you being on Rodeo Live.
Yeah.
And then that day on Rodeo Live, Rocker Steiner had a certain horse, and he was talking about getting on or not getting on. And so I'm a stupid. So I was like, hey, Tilden, I'm going to ask you this question. Like, why wouldn't he get on? And so explain to me, like, the conversation we had there, and you were talking the pros and cons. To me, as an athlete, I was like, man, not just the years of experience, but mental experience. You knew the opportunity with Rocker in that situation.
Yeah, and that was a deal where I mean, it was easy to see why he was thinking maybe not get on him. That was a horse. I can't even remember what it's called. It was a gray horse, had a bunch of moves and stayed short, and like maybe the kind you wouldn't be able to show off on. But like in my mind, I was just imagining Rocker on there doing pretty much what he did, and I think he ended up winning third. You know what I mean? Like, I imagined it being pretty exciting, and there was probably an opportunity for it to go wrong, and it didn't. And if it would have, he probably maybe wouldn't want to check or whatever, and it was going to be kind of a roll of the dice. But I think it's pretty easy to see he made the right call that day. But those are decisions you have to make 3 or 4 times a weekend, and it's like, I hate it. I hate it for committees, and I hate it for the stock contractors, and we all like. It takes all of us to make the deal go around. And I've been doing this long enough to know that, without the committees and without the contractors, we couldn't have a rodeo, but also without the contestants, we couldn't have a rodeo. Right. And it's like, a lot of times we have to make decisions that is what's best for me. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like, I think everyone is put in that position, the committees and the contractors. And at the end of the day, I think we're all going to end up making the decision that's best for us. And sometimes that's to not go get on, a horse there or over here or whatever. And it's a business decision. It's never personal. It's never anything like that. And when I get the draw for the weekend, I'm going to look at it. And I'm going to say, do I have a chance to win money? And if I do have a chance to win money, then I'm going to 9 times out of 10 be there, unless it's a deal where it's like, I'm hoping that if everything goes right and nothing goes wrong and I get loaded a little bit, I'm going to win, 6th place. At that point, is it worth it? You know what I mean? And, it's always a business decision. And I guess when you get to the end of the year and you're, looking at being $108 in or out of the NFR, it comes down to absolutely every ride. So, you got to really take those decisions seriously. But the bareback riding is a little different than any of the other events, I think. I mean, every time you ride one, whether it's a good one to ride, a bad one to ride, whatever, it takes a little bit of tread off your tire, and you only have so much of it, and throughout the year you're managing an entire season. So it's like, if I go over here and win $500, but I get roughed up in the process to where I can't go next weekend and win 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever, then what did I just do? And so there's a lot of thought goes into where you're going on the weekend, and it seems to be more thought when it's not going your way, right? Like when you're having a season like Rocker's been having this year, or whoever was winning it last year, like, I mean, when you're having one of those seasons, it feels like you can't do wrong, and you just go get on and you're having fun, and it seems easy, and you're riding good and you're drawing good and everything. But when your season's been going kind of like mine, and everyone else that didn't get in or did get in, right there at the bottom has been, it's a lot of thought goes into every one of them. You're like, can I win? Can I, the draw has so much to do with everything, right? Like you can draw 3 kind of mediocre horses that aren't, that are kind of hard to ride or that don't allow you to make the kind of ride you want on. And you're like, do I still remember how to do this? Like, am I still a good bareback rider? And then it's like you get on a horse like Stevie Nicks or something, and you get off, and I'm like, greatest bareback rider in the
Yeah.
world. Like, I knew it. I still got it.
I got it.
But it's like, I don't know. I'm sure it's like that in every event. But the livestock they're the main ingredient other than you got to go do your job. But, that's the one you can't control.
You can't. And that's, at 37, there's a lot of controllables that you have and a lot of uncontrollables that you don't have within this. Like, talk a little bit about your season. It seemed like you had a lot of firsts this year, and everywhere I saw you, you won money, and you still come in at 15th.
I thought about that.
$100 from 16th. Like, just this morning, we found out you're in. So, talk about your season and how it's evolved.
Well, there's 5 guys behind me that didn't get into the NFR that had phenomenal seasons. You know what I mean? Like, there's just, and maybe more than 5. Like, I'm just kind of throwing a number out there, but I think it speaks to the amount of money that's out there to win. How many great rodeos there are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's rodeos that added $5,000 when I started that add $45,000 now. Like, one headers that we go to, which is, we love, you know what I mean? Like, I think with the amount of horses that are out there and like quality horses that are out there, I think one headers suit the bareback riding better maybe than any other event. And, I think it speaks to the caliber of guys. Cause I think there's always been, the bareback riding is really deep right now. There's 10, 15 guys past the top 15 that can beat you on any kind of horse. And it wasn't always that way. Like, there's always been a lot of really good guys, and I like definitely not, down on anybody in the past. But just looking at it as, used to, and I think it has to do kind of, I've said this before with the horses too. Like, used to, you could get around some of these guys by just being able to bang around and go out there and stay on a hard one. You know what I mean? And now, like, there's not as much of that, and these horses are jumping this high in the air. And not to take anything away, there's a lot of great bareback riders right now, but you just don't have to go bang around as much. And there's a lot of guys that can make a really good ride right now. So it's just, it's a deep field of competition, and it's crazy to think, because like you said, if you would have just told me at the beginning of the year that I was going to be waiting, trying to figure out if I made it by $108. Like, my first 5 rides of last season, I was 90 on 3 of the first 5 rides. And I was like, I've seen this before.
Easy.
This is going to be an easy season. Yeah. Like, this is the one I like. This is what I was hoping for, and it was about June, I realized, I was like, oh yeah, this ain't it. Like, you're going to have to do the other thing you know how to do if you want this to happen. And, it was also a kind of you know how many come to Jesus meetings you have throughout the course of
like every other day.
Yeah, how many gut checks you have throughout the course of a rodeo season. But I left Logan, Utah this year, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go south and go home and be done with this, or head north. And we obviously decided to head north, and I'm thankful we did. But it's just, I knew about midway after the 4th of July. I was like, I know how to make the finals. I know how to do my best to kind of force this deal. Like, I know how to enter like I need to. And it's like, but do I want, is that how bad I want it? And I decided that was it.
Yeah.
So
you wanted it that bad. Here you are.
Yeah.
Cracking the chute again.
But no, it's funny, 18 years, and you learn so much along the way, and then you can forget it overnight. And you're like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Well, and I think, I know for myself as an athlete, I've been there too, and being able to speak to that, it's like you're on those places where you feel like there's nothing you can do that goes wrong. Like, I back in the box, I'm going to win money, guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then there's those times when it's just like, please, Lord Jesus, just let the rope go around the calf's neck.
Yeah, but you also know, like, you can't beat these guys and girls if you don't. Like, you have to trick yourself into believing it even when you don't. You know what I mean? Because I think once you've felt what you're talking about, like where everything's going right and you can't miss and you can't lose, like you know what that's like. And so it's you get in this other way and you're like, I know how I have to be to get right back there, and it's hard to do if things aren't going your way. It's easy if everything's going your way.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. My wife and I were joking about that a few times this year. I'm like, I chased a lot of rabbits this year that I swore I was never going to chase again. And I've probably swore that, about 1 million times.
I will never do that again.
Yeah, I'm not going down that road again, but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah. We're navigating, but you know how to get out of it. talk about, one of your traveling partners that you've been around a long time. Is he older than you? I think
Oh,
he
yeah,
is. He's older than me too.
Yeah.
Just noted, Casey Field.
Older. Well, the elder gentleman,
Yeah. I
Casey
mean,
Field.
is he on a walker now or?
I don't know.
Mm.
I'm not even sure. I talk to him sometimes. He's just been playing pickleball and up at the YMCA and just kind of doing what retired people do, I guess.
Bingo.
Yeah. Yeah. No, playing B. I could imagine that.
I could imagine. He would probably take their money at
Let me
bingo.
tell you what he would say. He does play bingo, and he's the very best bingo player in all of Genola, Utah. No one's ever beat him. He's never lost.
Ever.
Not once.
Well, I guess we need to go there and play bingo
Yeah.
because I would like to challenge that.
For sure. Yeah.
Talk about your relationship with him. I know you've had several other traveling partners, but that one really comes to mind. He gave me some back info. We'll share it with everybody now.
Thank God he usually does that.
I said, tell me about
very
Tilden.
flattering.
Tell me about Tilden. And he said, well, his mother told me that they call him Tender Tilly. He calls himself the Texas Tornado.
That's true.
You are the
Zeke Thurston, I called him earlier, and he answered and said, "What's up, Texas Tornado?" It's only taken about 10 years, but it's starting to stick.
Noted on the record.
Yeah.
And he said, you're the pickiest eater ever.
That's true.
So I don't know if you were like the wife in that relationship and he was the husband. And then
No,
I'm
said, Maverick, he's Goose. Everyone knows that.
He said you were one of the best friends, best bareback riders, genuine people he'd been around in his life. So he did finish it with a.
He usually does. He likes to sneak at least one compliment in there.
Yeah.
No, I've said it a lot of times. Everybody'd be really lucky to have a best friend like Casey. It's just it's funny. You don't know when you're younger how things are going to go. You can't see into the future. You know what I mean? But us traveling together had such a big impact on my career and steered it in a very positive direction, like in a direction that I don't know if it would have went if we wouldn't have started traveling together. It was just and it was pretty organic how we met, like other than just, we both competed together for Rookie of the Year that year. And you obviously know who you're kind of going up against. And he was traveling with a guy named Jesse Davis and a couple other guys, good dudes from Utah and Idaho. And anyway, Jesse was the guy back then to me that I was like, he was just smashing every bad bareback there was, having a big old time doing it. And I was just like, hung out with him once or twice. And I was like, man, this guy's cool. Like, I want to travel with this guy, and I got stuck with Casey in the process. And then, anyway, and then, just kind of, you get Casey there, and he's a great guy, and I felt like I had to take care of him for all those years.
That was sincere of you.
His mom came to me pretty early on and was just like, Tilden, like, Casey's gonna have to have someone babysit him out there to do this, and we're not looking to spend a whole lot of money on this, but we will give you some cash.
That's what kept you afloat and kept you able
a lot
to
of
rodeo.
times, like the years that I was hurt, it was just the babysitting money from Casey's mom that kind of kept me going. Man, what a family. It's funny. Like, Casey and I started traveling together. We started entering together after the college finals. So I go to the college finals, make some pretty poor decisions, get kicked out of the college finals, just a whole mess, and I'll never forget Casey's dad, who was, 5-time world champion, a guy that I'd met a couple times, but definitely looked up to, and I didn't even know how much I would grow to look up to him at that point. I looked up to him because he was a great bareback rider. I didn't know what a great man he even was at that point, but he just, that day, he looked me straight in the eye. He's like, "Did you learn something from this?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he was like, "This doesn't have to be who you are. This is just a mistake you made, and, move along." And they treated me like family from that day on. And I look back at that and I'm like, man, I might have told my kid to find some other guy to travel with, and anyway, we took off, and it was just, it was a blast. We were having a good time, kind of feeding off each other. It's just, I remember pretty early on in our career, Scotty Lovelace kind of pulled us off to the side and was like, "Hey, y'all need to keep doing this." He was like, "Iron sharpens iron, and you guys are gonna push each other to do big things." And I just, I can think about times in my career where, like, when you don't have a whole lot of confidence in what you're doing, but like somebody you really look up to does, like, that kind of pushed me over the edge sometimes when Casey was there, and he's like, "Dude, you got this, whatever." And I'm like, "Well, why are you with him? He's the best," And so I don't know. He's just he's an uplifting guy, and I just, I think about it sometimes. Like, I can't think. I bet you Casey Field and I talked about bareback riding for maybe an hour and a half total for our whole friendship. You know
All
what I mean?
18
Like,
years?
all 18 years. Like, it's a Casey keeps bareback riding really simple. His dad was the same way. He keeps life simple. It's pretty easy, you know, just wake up and do your best to do the right thing every day. Try as hard as you can. Bareback riding's simple too. Like, we're not out here trying to land on the moon. It's squeeze on your handle, set your feet, and figure out what you did wrong or what you did right, and move along pretty quick after that. And that's probably the biggest thing that really changed the trajectory of my career. Like, my brain naturally wants to overanalyze everything, and I don't know that I've ever learned anything about riding bareback horses from Casey or his dad, but learning that perspective and keeping it simple freed me up enough to learn how to do this at what I feel like is a high level, and keeping it simple, and you know, not sweating the small stuff is the only way you could ever do this for more than 6 months anyway. So
Yeah.
it's just so many uncontrollables that if you were to really worry about all of them, you'd drive yourself crazy, and this wouldn't be a very fun job.
Yeah. Well, and I think the older I get, the more I do this. And same way, I think when you get started, you're like, you know, breakaway roping is all there is. It's like you wake up, you breakaway rope, you eat, you breakaway rope, you sleep, you breakaway rope. And then the older I get, the more it's like, yes, it's breakaway roping and there's so many things to it, but that's just such a small piece of everything that goes on and where you come back to. And to have those kind of people in your life, that's what makes the difference in your careers, to me, in and out of the arena.
Yeah, no doubt. I've said this a handful of times. I had some heroes in rodeo before I met Casey's dad, and I was young and naive enough to look up to people because of what they did in the arena, and not that I still don't. Like, that what you do in the arena is great, but one thing I learned from and from my family too. I mean, it was pretty much from the beginning. My family made me realize that this is going to be a real small part of what you do. You know what I mean? Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's a sport, it's a game we get to play, and it's fun, but it's not who you are or what you do. You know, there's way more important things in the world than that. And then meeting Casey's dad and their family and everything just reassured that. But Casey's dad was the first like world champion cowboy that I knew and got to know well enough to see what a great man he was, and like what a great family man he was, and just to see that, and to see that whole situation and how it worked in rodeo, and like taking your kids around and doing all that. And that's the first time I ever thought, man, like, maybe I would like to have a family and do this, you know what I mean? And thank God, because it's just been the last 4 years have been so fun with the kids and taking them, and it's just it's a fun lifestyle to get to raise your family in the middle of.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to talk about Melissa and your kids and those little tiny tornadoes running around. But first, I want to talk a little bit about and finish up on why we even got to do this podcast. So we're sitting at Nashville Rodeo Live doing the broadcasting together, and Teton Ridge plays a video of Rusty Wright called "To Hell and Back," and I know I was crying. You said you weren't, but
Yeah, no, I'll probably cry here in a second.
right.
You'll have me on camera
Yeah,
crying.
there
in
we
a
go.
second.
They didn't get it, but I will.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it moved me. I got to then follow up and do a podcast with Rusty. Did cry on that too. He talks about how, you know, obviously top of the mountain, talks about not winning a gold buckle yet, bottom of the valley, and then getting himself coming up out of it, comeback story, talks about losing a child, and pretty much what we're talking about, how life is bigger than rodeo.
100%.
And at the end of it, he says, I can't wait to stick that gold buckle on. And I remember you coming on the broadcast and saying he's already won a gold buckle,
Yeah,
whether he wins one or not.
Yeah, I think about you know, that deal and the thing about Rusty and just how vulnerable he was in that thing. There's so much goes on behind the scenes of what we're doing here, and you know, you feel like you've had some problems or some hardships or whatever, but you know, I think you know, maybe there's been some things not go my way, but I haven't had to deal with anything quite like that, and thank God, you know. But to see Rusty come out and just tell the truth, you know, like that, that's a big deal. That's gonna affect a lot of people's lives, and already has, you know. And to me, I think in the grand scheme of things, if Rusty never wins a world championship, and I hope he does, and I think he's dang sure capable of it. But he did more good by going on there and just laying it bare and letting people see what it looks like than any gold buckle would ever do. You know, he changed more lives in that 30 minutes than strapping on a gold buckle would do. That's a personal goal, and that's one I hope he achieves. But he did something quite a bit bigger than that day. And you know what the only reason I even had that thought, you know, is rewind several years. When J.R. Verzane was injured, I would have been, you know, riding at Pasadena just a few days later, and so after we rode or before we rode, I went up there and visited with J.R. and you know, I like you don't know what to say. Like obviously you don't know what. We're all pretty young. You've never experienced something like this. Not that you could even imagine. And in the you know. You're just like, what do I do when I get here, you know? But it doesn't matter. I just need to go up there and do whatever you can, you know? And so I walk in and then JR's sitting up in his bed somehow, like they've got him kind of strapped in, and JR's like a pretty wiry guy, and he's looking around, and I'm like, like it wasn't what I was expecting. Like I don't know if I just thought it was going to be like, you know, the lights were going to be dim and there's just little candles lit somewhere. Like I don't know what I was expecting, but like I walked in and JR's just, pretty quick into the deal. Like I don't remember even what we were talking about, but he looked me straight in the eyes and he's like, I'm going to change more lives through this accident than I would have ever from winning a gold buckle. And I'm like, dude, that's the kind of stuff you realize years after you've had an accident. Like he knew it within, I don't know if I was the next day there, but within 72 hours, JR had already switched and he was heading right in that direction, and I was just like, wow, like I can't imagine, you know. But that's the same thing I was thinking whenever I saw Rusty still.
Well, and just the humility, the selflessness that goes into even having that thought and switching. It's so easy to get caught up in what we do.
Yeah, how would you not just be laying there and just pour me, you know, whatever, like as far as JR, and then same with Rusty. And you know, not to discredit anything that's happened to those guys, but that's just two guys that were, you know, we saw what happened to JR, and then he's been very out in the open about his walk from that point on, and then Rusty to go out there and lay it bare like he did. Those are just two guys that we know what happened. Yeah, like those are just two guys that talked about it, and I can promise you, there's a lot of people going through a lot of stuff, and they do it, and they still show up, and they compete, and they do, you know,
we have no idea.
They do it with families and everything, and we have no idea, you know.
Yeah.
But,
well, and that's what your wife and I and you talked about at Nashville after that, is like for more of us to talk about stuff like that. And that's a personal goal of mine, is like having those conversations that are hard. You know, we all show up and we're like, like you said, when you're winning, it's great. It's easy. It's super. It's like when you're losing, nobody, you know, I won't ever forget the feeling, first in FR, I win the average. I had like, I don't know, 100 and some texts on my phone. I was like, superwoman, man. I'm like, woo, you know. And the next year I didn't make it. And I missed one at Salinas. Well, I didn't rope all year long. I didn't capitalize. But the one at Salinas is the
one that cost you. Yeah,
$1,200 would have made it.
Yeah.
And I had nobody text me. Nobody. And so for me personally, I'm like, I hate it. I was like just waiting for somebody to be like, you know, it's okay. You'll get it again next. Nobody.
Yeah.
My husband was the only one. Poor guy. Yeah. Then he got it all. But it's just like that to me. So like I try to see those people that I know the situation they've been in or where they're at, and I try to be the one that like reaches out and talks to them, because I'm like, I know what this feels like, and I also know what this feels like. Yeah,
no, it's tough. Rodeo's a funny thing. Like and I'm sure other sports are this way. I don't know, but when you're in the middle of it, when you're on the merry-go-round, you're in the middle of it, and it's all. But it's the moment you step off and you're injured for more than about 2 days, or you're not there, or whatever happened, you know, it just moves on without you, and that's fine. Once you learn the lesson, it's easy to see afterwards. But it's one thing, like you build all these friendships and you build all these relationships and everything, and then you step away from it, and the people you're closest to and you know the most, you're not seeing them at all. You know what I mean? You're around your friends and your people at home, and you know, hopefully people have, you know, great friends and family at home. I do, and I'm thankful that I do. But at the end of the day, the people you know the best, like, are your rodeo friends, you know, and like and I'm the worst about not reaching out. I'm absolutely terrible about it. I love to talk in person. I hate to talk on the phone. And I saw Steve Woolsey at a wedding last weekend, and he walked up, and I was like, man, as soon as I saw him, I felt just this guilt wash over me, because I'm like, I've been needing to call you back for about a year. And he goes, yeah, about 2. And I was like, maybe 3. I was like, man, I know, but you're here now. We can talk
Let's
now.
talk
Like, I
now.
love it, but and like, it's just tough, and we should all be better about it, but you get home and you get back in your home thing, and then Rodeo's out here doing a rodeo thing. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's funny how distant they are, but I mean, be a lot better if we were better at staying in touch in those moments, for sure.
100%. Let's talk a little bit about your home life. So I sat down and got to visit with your wife, Melissa, quite a bit at Houston, and she told me all the things. You guys have this routine because you have these 3 small Texas tornadoes.
That's the truth.
You get up at 4, you try to get some stuff in, and then you work throughout your day with your 3 kids. Talk a little bit about what life looks like behind the buck and shoots for you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's such a blessing. The kids are wild. They're funny. They're healthy. They got a lot of spunk, a lot of personality. It's funny. When Melissa was pregnant with Tell, we prayed, like, every time we were praying for our future baby, is like, let him have personality, make sure he's got a little gas to him, and it's like, we look around now and I'm like,
You shouldn't have prayed
man,
for that.
I don't know. Like,
Could you bring him
like, yeah,
down?
like, did we pray for this much? But anyway, it's awesome. It's wild. It's nonstop. They get up early. They get up at 5:30, 6 a.m. If they sleep till 6, it feels like you've really done something. So, but thank God, like, Rodeo's allowed us to live a life where we're able to spend all this time together. Like, I can't imagine what this situation looks like if Melissa and I both have to go work from 9 to 5, and like, I just Rodeo takes you away from your family for extended periods of time. When I'm home, I'm home. Like, I'm dad, and I get to go drop them off at school, and I get to do this and that. And it's just, I mean, it's part of what drives me to keep doing this a little bit. I'll be honest, like, the lifestyle that Rodeo provides, as far as, like, just being able to spend all that time with my kids and be
Yeah.
that present daily whenever I'm home. It's hard to get away from,
Yeah.
and but it's like Melissa said, day starts around 4 or 5 a.m. We just get up and try to squeeze in a few minutes of silence and something before they get up, and then it's just all hands on deck, and the older they get, the more stuff they can do by themselves, and they're funny right now. They all like to pick out their own clothes to go to school.
Oh.
They're
Do they match, or what does that look like?
No, they don't, and a lot of times. And I was like this kid that always wanted to go to school with my shirt untucked and my hair unbrushed, but my mom
Imagine
wouldn't
that.
have any of that. Like, shirt tucked in, belt on, hair gel, the whole thing. Like, I was never out the door without everything being in place, and now I'm like, I realize how much more, like
You
how
need to
much
be
of
like
that I
your
have
mom.
in me whenever they try to run out with 2 different socks on, and I'm like, are you sure? Like, but no, they're fun. They really enjoyed getting to come to the rodeos this summer. They came out from, like, I guess we started at Calgary and came home after Cheyenne, so it's a fun time. It's fun to get them out there around your rodeo family, for the reason that I mentioned before. Like, I'm more comfortable with most of those people than I am the people that I'm around at home. So it's like my kids run in with their kids, and you're just like, heck, everybody's having a good time. I know what these people are all about. So if my kid's over there doing whatever, I know they'll kick him in the butt and send him on home, or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
So
It's cool. And so you also, outside of rodeo, which I thought this was really, really neat, you have your pilot's license because you're a drone pilot.
yes, a drone pilot. Let's be
Let's
clear.
rephrase.
I like
mean,
that we
it's,
called it a
it's
pilot's
cool,
license.
pilots, like the drone pilot's
I
license.
want to get like some
You need a little
wings or
sticker.
something. Yeah. Yeah. So, it would be like 3 years ago. Susan Maddox with American Hat introduced me to a gentleman named Marshall Tillman, and Marshall's worked in the oil and gas industry for about 40 years, and we became friends. And through that process, he kept mentioning this idea of doing inspections with drones, like different oil and gas applications. And anyway, I pretty immediately thought, man, that's pretty cool idea. And, after you turn 30 in rodeo, every time you go to a rodeo, somebody asks you like, hey, what are you gonna do after rodeo? Like, what are you gonna do when this is done? Like,
I'm not quitting ever. Stop asking.
what happens if you just tonight it's over? Like, what are you gonna do tomorrow?
Like, thank you for boosting my confidence.
Let me ride first, and then we'll talk about it. But so always in my mind, I don't know that I've thought a whole lot about what the future looks like, other than I aspire to work for myself and start a business and do these things, and I know what the life looks like. I want to live, and I'm hoping to create a business around that, a job around that, something to provide for us. And this seemed like a pretty good opportunity. And so Marshall and I started this business like 3 years ago, and it's been a year of looking at drones, doing different stuff, trying to figure out what to buy, buying the equipment. It's been a big learning process. But this last year we did quite a few jobs. We did more than we did the year before, and things are growing and trending in the right direction. And it's cool. I'm excited to see where it goes.
So if I see this drone buzzing my house, it's you.
Could be. Yeah, it's a big one if it's mine. it's like you won't miss it. It's got a lot of lights on it. So
10th NFR. After all the years of going to the NFR and preparing, is there anything you're going to do different this year? What's it look like from now till December?
It's going to look a lot the same as years in the past, as far as but it don't really look much different from my day to day. Like, it's just going to the gym, take care of myself, take advantage of the time that I'm not rodeoing, because I can train differently whenever I'm not going to go get on 3 bucking horses this weekend, And so, like, not that I don't train throughout the season, but it looks different. Like, there's not a lot of weight involved. There's not, it's just, I don't know all of the fitness stuff. I just do what I'm told. But at the end of the day, it looks different what I do in the off season, if you can call it that, versus whenever I'm competing. So just the next 2 months, basically take advantage of that time. I'm going to ride at the Hondo Rodeo there in Phoenix. I'm real thankful to get to go out there this year. Last year when I got to ride there, I was like, this feels like the perfect warm up for the NFR. I wish I was leaving here and going to the NFR. And so thankfully I will be this year. And the only difference, I guess, in the past, I've always felt like I try to cram 6 months worth of training and preparation and everything, just not reinvent the wheel, but just like do some things that I don't normally do throughout the season to get ready for the NFR, and some of those things have worked in the past. I just think, like, life changes, your body changes, your mindset changes every year. And so I think what you do should change also, you know what I mean? And the one thing, I guess, that's in my mind, like, going into it, that's changed this year is I told Melissa and Sean, maybe even a few weeks before the season was over, just like, hey, if we get it done and it goes our way, like, I don't want to, like, try to rush 2 months worth of training or 6 months worth of training in 2 months. Like, let's just start getting ready for next year, take care of myself, like, get ready. Like, I just want to focus on going out there and knocking 10 out perfect. Like, I don't like, I don't know, like, I'm just a lot more relaxed, I guess. I don't feel like I have to get ready. Like, I feel ready. Like, I just feel like I need to just kind of, like, work out, do my thing. I'm not going to change a whole lot from what I've been doing this year. Like, it's just, I've practiced to ride at the NFR 53 times at 53 rodeos this year. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I every time I go get on, I'm imagining myself riding at the NFR, and it's been that way for a long time. So I'm just kind of ready to kind of just turn me on, turn me loose, and let's go do it, sort of thing.
I love it. Well, and that's something Raymond talks about too, is as the older you get, he said, if you had the mind that you did now with the body I had then, he's like, watch out.
Yeah, no doubt.
It would have been
That's
lights
true.
out. And I see that with you. And I think same thing. It's like, you've done this all year long. It's not reinventing the wheel. You're just taking a month where you don't have to, your body is rehabbing, resting, and you're going to get on 10 in a row.
Yeah. I'd say one thing, I guess, interesting, since we were talking about the livestock, this is the first year that I've ever qualified for the NFR that I didn't participate in any of the livestock calls or the selection for the horses and stuff. And for one, they started doing it at about Pendleton, and so it wasn't even in the top 15. But even once that did happen, I always watched Casey throughout our career, and he never knew what he was getting on, or he pretended like he didn't. And if he did, he did a good job of making it seem like he didn't know what he was getting on. And I found that somewhere in the middle of that, it works good for me. Like, not just total. Not, I mean, ignorance is a negative word. That's not what I mean. But not just like I don't
Oblivion.
know, but like I don't need to put too much thought into it. I need to know what's out there. I need to I kind of know what most of those horses do. But I think what happens when you do that stock call, and like for me this year, like I just kind of was like, man, you get on there and you just analyze every one of these horses. And so when you draw the horse, once you get to Vegas, you already have an opinion made about them, good or bad, and it's just like, I want to make my opinion about my draw out there the night before when I'm excited to be at the NFR, not whenever I'm just sitting there watching 20 videos of this horse and picking it apart, and so I'm excited to see how that's going to, just if that's going to change once I'm out there, like how it all goes, like just the mentality or whatever. But this is the first time in 10 years that I haven't done any of that. Yeah. And so I'm just going to go out there.
Well, and you've already done that all year long. I saw you do it in Nashville, and I don't know anything about bareback riding. You're like, this is what could happen if you dress this horse up. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean,
so you're already doing it.
But once you get out there, like, it's like I have to switch to two different hats, because like if I get to thinking like that and I have to compete, then you can look at the draw and you can be like, I don't have a chance. Like, even though you're out there, like, and all the horses out there are NFR horses, they're still a top end and a bottom end, Yeah. Whereas if you hadn't put all that extra thought into them and just analyzed every little bit of them, you get out there and you draw an NFR horse and you're happy and you're out there and it's like, let's get it on. And so I'm hoping that's a different thing that I'm going to do that I hope helps.
Well, I hear the guys with the longest hair draw the best, so
I've
get to growing it.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I would say that's if the 2020 NFR is any indication, that's the longest my hair's ever been and the worst I've ever drawn at the NFR. So
well, just keep it short this year.
I'm gonna just kind of do this. This seems to work. Yeah.
Going back, last question. This is gonna be a hard one, but you can do it.
Yep.
2007. Tilden Hooper, what would you tell? Would you go back and what would you tell him now?
Yeah, don't take this shit for granted. Like, it's just you're young. Like 2007 Tilden was still like, I needed to talk to like 2009 and 10 Tilden. Like 2007 Tilden was still chasing it. Like 2009 Tilden thought that, I'd made the NFR once and I'd just show up, as many times as I wanted. And if I've rodeoed for 18 years, I'd qualify 18 times. Like, you're just, you don't get it. You know what I mean? And every time that this has almost been over, well, the first time with my neck and all that this was like, I thought this was maybe possibly over. I told myself, like, when I came back from that, I was like, I'll never take this for granted again. And I've successfully done that. And so if I could go back, I would tell pre-Tilden, like, hey, take this a little more seriously. Like, I mean, take a little better care of yourself. You can make this easier on yourself when you get a little bit older. But, as far as things that I probably would have listened to, I'd just say, hey, don't take any of this stuff for granted. This is a cool job and it could go away at any point,
100%. I love that. Tilden Hooper, thank you so much for joining us on In the Loop today.
Heck yeah. Thanks for having me.
You are officially in the loop.